Joining us now on the Specialties Hotline is the Director of Health, Physical Education, and Athletics with the Rochester City School District. His name is Mr. Carlos Cotto. Hi, Carlos.
Good evening. How are we doing, Jeff?
We're doing well. Steve Bradley's going to take this interview home, and I just want to tell you that I'm rooting for the city to get back on the field, get back in the classrooms, and I know it's really important for these kids to have that platform and to have that motivation to come to school every day and get ready to hit the books and then hit the playing field. So, Steve Bradley, my man, take it away, sir. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Carlos, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a crazy 6 months, and even crazier last couple of weeks. You've always been such a huge advocate for the athletics and health and physical education being part of well-being for students and athletes. And last week, the city school district did announce that they were postponing the fall interscholastic sports until spring. Could you kind of just walk us through that a little bit and tell how that decision was made and how things have kind of materialized in the time since it was announced?
Well, I would say, starting in March and working our way all the way to September, there's been a lot of changes to the guidelines and updates to, what was forthcoming as far as programs go. During that same time, we were in the process of determining how we were going to start our school year, and that of instruction. And the district made the decision to start at 100% remote, which was a key piece to all of this in reference to our following decision, in that of interscholastic sports. Given that we are in a 100% remote model and that we're in this 10-week kind of time frame where we're kind of assessing and reevaluating instruction in the transition into hopefully a hybrid or in-person, that really was kind of one of the key indicators in the decision moving forward to have sports, our fall sports season, move into that March 1st start date, so that we can really take these 10 weeks in this 100% remote model, assess and reevaluate, and then hopefully plan to transition into programs. Yeah.
And how has the reaction been? I think, so many people having dealt with this unprecedented situation, you hope that there's patience and understanding and realize that the safety and well-being of everybody is at the center of it. Has the reaction been, have you received pretty much understanding from most folks and understand why you're doing it in the best interest of all is in hand here, that you need to get the education piece settled before you move on to incorporating more pieces?
I would say it's challenging. At the end of the day, when the fact that we've got some programs that are operating within Section 5 as a whole, I think I would share with you that our goal moving forward is to really provide our young men and young ladies with a memorable experience. So there's been some concerns coming from some of our families, given some of the programs that are starting, as of Monday of this week, and then we've got Monroe County starting on the 28th of this month as well. But what we're just sharing with our families is that at the end of the day, the choices and decisions that we've made have been really focused on the health and well-being and focusing on teaching and learning, just to transition into this particular school year. And that our goal is to assess, reevaluate, and really provide a plan that's going to provide them with that interscholastic experience as we do transition from this 10-week model.
And you, through the years, have been such a big advocate of increasing participation in the school district, and the benefits that being on a team or even an individual sport, that they carry lifetime lessons and things like that. What in your mind, Carlos, are the most valuable things that a young teenage student can take away from playing high school sports?
I think the connection. So I did my dissertation work at St. John Fisher, and my work was on the impact of interscholastic sports and academic success. And it has a true impact. So I think on many aspects, from the social, especially social, and the emotional well-being and the relationships that are established, character development, and how that transitions into real life application, from jobs to just friendships and the networking that you do within your community. So we truly, as a district, in the district's board, as well as our superintendents, have been extremely supportive of our athletic programs, because they do understand that there is a balance. And when you're able to provide young men and young ladies with athletic opportunities, you see a huge increase in that of not only attendance, but academic success, and then citizenship as well. So I think that interscholastic sports within the Rochester City School District, or the country as a whole, is a huge anchor in developing and preparing young men and women to be leaders and role models. And everything that I've learned as a leader was learned through sports. And
Right.
I've transitioned all of those skills into the job, which I think every young man and young lady will take some of those things that they've learned in these experiences and easily apply it into any job that they have in their career.
Just kind of going back in the time machine, where did you grow up and what sports did you play growing up?
So I grew up in Lowell, Massachusetts. I moved here to Rochester in '98 with the idea of getting 1 year of experience, and I've been up here ever since. As a high school athlete, I played football, but I transitioned into cross country. So I was a cross country runner, which has impacts. I know that that's one of our programs for this fall. Played basketball, and then was a track runner as well.
And then you got your dissertation at St. John Fisher. So what about the community has, brought you in and made it home to you? What do you like best about Rochester?
I think it's my why. It's the connection. It's the connection to our kids. It's I love my job, and truly looking to see how I can, provide that pathway for our young men and our young ladies to be successful, not just in sports, but just the relationships that I've established within the city of Rochester, the recreation programs, trying to do a lot to really establish a strong foundation within our community to build. And when I say foundation, I look at our youth programs. We've got a lot of great things going on here in Rochester. And so one of my big callings in this particular role is how do we take all of these great opportunities that are taking place within our community as a whole and leverage them so that our young men and our young ladies get into those opportunities early on, and they transitions into our middle school and high school programs on the athletic end. But then we've got all types of other organizations within our community that are looking to empower and prepare our young men and women to be successful in their future.
So I know, Carlos, that nobody has a crystal ball, and that if things go according to plan, the three high-risk sports that the state moved to the spring: football, competitive cheer, and volleyball, and then the moderate to lower-risk sports that the RCSD has also moved there. How do you see that all coming together? Would the teams in the low to moderate be playing mostly Rochester City School District schedule, a league schedule, and then the teams that were Section 5 is following a similar model would play a wider Section 5 model, or is that getting too far ahead of things?
Well, I think within the next couple of weeks to the beginning of next month, there's a lot of, I'm doing my own assessing and kind of seeing what we've done as a section in reference to particular districts that have made the same decision, but also looking at different districts outside of our looking at other sections close enough to us to see what we can do moving forward to support our young men and young ladies. So it's an internal piece around Section 5, and then kind of seeing what programs are in the same, have made the same decision, and then also looking at sections, neighboring sections, to see, what their decisions are. And so I think within the next couple of weeks is trying to put all those pieces together, and ultimately the goal is to really provide our young men and young ladies with an experience that they're going to remember as they transition. Not just, they could be freshmen, sophomores, modified. But at the end of the day, it's not losing sight of that, because we as a district truly know and understand the value that sports play in the lives of our children. But at this current time, we're just focusing on that teaching and learning, looking at these 10 weeks that we're in this remote model, and then transitioning to provide those opportunities.
Now, physical education is part of the remote model that the district has been using. Early reports on that is that's been going very well, and that the students across the city school district, that attendance has been good and participation has been great. Have you been encouraged by what you've seen so far?
Well, absolutely. I think our staff are doing the best that they can to connect, in this virtual world. and then trying to provide this synchronous and asynchronous way in which to deliver instruction so that, you know, students are not sitting behind a computer the entire time. So it is important for us to truly focus on the health and well-being and the social emotional well-being of our young men and young ladies. So it is trying to find that balance and making sure that we can deliver information and instruction cognitively through a Zoom, but then we're allowing students to take that information and apply it in that of movement so that we can work on that core, you know, work on these young men and young ladies who've been home since March, and then also connecting them to the resources that we have within our community. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, our centers within the Rochester community are providing access to opportunities and programs as well. So just trying our best to continue to keep them informed, but also keep them connected to what's taking place here in Rochester, and being creative on creating other resources within the community to keep them involved.
If and when you do get the green light, Carlos, what do you think will be some of the new challenges and new things that need to be addressed in order for competition to exist interscholastically?
I think for us, I mean, we're a large urban district. You know, we've got 10 plus high schools. We've got, you know, 15 plus middle schools. So I think the some of the obstacles is that of transportation, which I think even districts that have started have some challenges within that particular element as well. And then sustaining program is just making sure that, you know, as we do transition, that we promote and advocate and share the opportunities that are available as our students transition back into building. But, you know, the transportation is one that's always, because like I said, we're a big district and our students are school of choice. So their students are across the district as a whole, attending different schools within the same neighborhoods. So that's one particular piece that we're navigating as we speak.
Sure. Carlos Cotto, Director of Health Physical Education for the Rochester City School District. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate the time, the insight. We wish you well moving forward. And just like you, we want to see the young men and women from the City School District back on the fields and safe as soon as we can. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You bet. You are listening and viewing the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show, brought to you by Salvatore's Pizza.